Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So we're all stuck in quarantine, and if you're watching this in the future, then congrats, you made it through quarantine, but this can still help you. So basically everything that's not essential is closed right now, as you probably know, which means you can't go get your hair done unless you know your hair girl and she's coming to your house. So most of us can't go get our hair done, and I need to do my hair. So I've been dyeing my own hair for a long time. I used to work in a salon, and I worked with a lot of hairdressers, and they would do my hair, and along the way I kind of picked up some things. So after talking to them and practicing on myself a few times, I now do my own hair. And if you want to save some money, or if you're stuck in quarantine and you can't do your own hair, today we are going to do that right now. So if you want to learn how to dye your hair at home, then keep on watching. Alright, so the first thing that you want to do is have dirty hair. You don't want to wash your hair and then put hair dye on. So give it like 3 or 4 days, let it get a little greasy when you would usually wash your hair next, and then that's the perfect time. So right now it's not looking so cute. Now I have the opposite problem that a lot of like blondes have, where they have dark roots and it grows out and you can see your dark roots on your blonde hair. Well, I have blonde hair and I dye it brown, so my roots are like this ashy blonde, so it looks like I have this like massive bald spot. I don't. It's just my hair. It just, nice. So you can see that is where my line is. It just looks really weird. So I'm in a bathing suit top because I don't have a dirty shirt that I am okay with getting hair dye on. So use a pajama shirt you don't like, put on a swimsuit top, do it shirtless if you want. It's up to you. So here's what you need. Obviously you're gonna need your hair dye. Now if you talk to any professional, they're gonna tell you to go to a beauty supply store. So there's some that require a license to get into, but then there's also places like Sally's Beauty Supply or local beauty supply stores around your town. So I just went to Sally's and I talked to the people there to kind of see which brands they love. You can talk to your hairdresser about the brands they love or the ones that they usually use on you. If you can't find it at a store, or if the stores are closed like right now, you can also order it online. So a quick tip about buying your color. So every color box is gonna say a number with a letter. So 4 is the level, so it goes 1 through 10, and 1 is the darkest, 10 is the lightest. So a 10 would be a platinum blonde, where a 1 would be a black. So the smaller the number, the darker it is, so be aware of that. Next to that number, they're gonna have the letters. So the letters are categories of colors. So if it has an R next to it, it means it's gonna pull red and have a red undertone. If it has a B next to it, it's gonna pull a blue undertone. So be very aware of what undertone you're getting, because not all browns are the same, and you can have a very cool or warm tone. So for me, when I first dye it, it will be very rich, but then over time, as I wash it, it will get lighter, and also it will get more red. That's only because I have naturally red undertones, so you also need to think about what your hair pulls, because if I use this dye on someone else, it could be slightly different because their natural tones are gonna pull through as well. So if I get an R, which people have done to me in the past, it pulls super red and actually turns more auburn instead of chocolate brown, which is what I'm going for. The other thing you need to look for while shopping for your hair dye is right here. It's gonna say one of 3 things: permanent, semi-permanent, or demi-permanent. So what those mean: permanent means it's gonna stay in your hair until you dye over it, and it's obviously gonna grow out, so eventually you could cut it off, but it's not going anywhere. It may fade slightly because realistically colors fade over washing with the chemicals and the minerals in your water, but it's gonna stay in your hair. The demi-permanent is a step below it. So basically that means it's going to stay in your hair for a while, and eventually it's gonna wash out. Not completely, but it's not gonna stay rich in color, and it's probably gonna last you about 8 to 10 washes, whereas the permanent's gonna last you like 20 washes. So that's good if you're experimenting. So when I first went from blonde to brown, originally I thought I was gonna go back to blonde. So I did a demi-permanent to test it out, see if I liked it. I only wanted to have dark hair for a few months and I was gonna go back, so it was perfect for me. After being brunette for a while now, I've realized that I actually love it. So I've kind of decided to stick to brunette and I've gone with permanent. I think that it just helps it to maintain the color longer through the washes instead of washing out so quickly. Now the third stage is semi-permanent. So this is really fun if you're doing a fun color. So last February I did pink and that was semi-permanent color. That lasts only about 5 or less washes. So if you're blonde and you want to try out purple or pink or blue or something fun, but you don't want it to stay in your hair for a very long time, then semi-permanent is the one for you. Now, when we're talking about blondes, it is a little bit different because you're using bleach. So it's still gonna have tones. It just depends on how blonde you wanna go. And that's a whole other process. So if I go blonde again, I'll teach you how I bleach my hair. But for me, I found that dyeing my hair darker just keeps the integrity much nicer. When I was going blonde and using bleach every few months, it was just fried and frizzy and wiry, and it was nice to have blonde hair, but having blonde hair isn't worth having fried, frizzy hair. So since then, like, this is my natural hair basically now, which is crazy how far it's come just by getting the bleach off of it. So be very aware if you are gonna go lighter, that bleach can really harm your hair. Also take note that sometimes it takes a few processes to get your hair the color that you want. It's obviously easier to go darker than it is to go lighter because you're adding color instead of removing it, but it can still be a process and take time. So if you don't love it right away, that's okay. Sometimes you need toner, which you'll have the color right, but the undertones won't be right, so that's what a toner is for. And sometimes it's just not exact the first time. If you are going to dye your hair multiple times, make sure to give it a few days in between. You don't want to dye it over and over again within a 24 to 48 hour period, because at the end of the day, having nice color hair is important, but it's useless if your hair is fried and you have a ton of split ends and the integrity is gone. So keep all of those things in mind. I hope that helps you when you're shopping for your color. Let's get into how we're gonna do this. So the color that I got is the Argan Oil hair color from One and Only. Now, this is a 2 applications. I have thin, short hair, so this is my 3rd application we're gonna use today. But whenever you go to buy hair dye, it always comes with the color and a developer. So a developer is very important. It's gonna activate the color. Please be aware that when you mix your color, whether it turns purple because you're bleaching it or it turns like a reddish, purplish color when you're going brown, it's not the color that's gonna come out, okay? You're good, don't worry about it. Anyways, so you're gonna mix the developer. Now, the lower the developer, the better it is for your hair. So sometimes people like to do multiple applications using a 10 developer to just keep a stronger hair follicle. We have like 40s too, but that really, it's gonna work the fastest, but it's also gonna strip your hair the most. So I just got a 10 developer. I really like it. It seems to still work pretty fast for me, but I wouldn't really recommend going above a 20. I think that's the most you should do. And if it takes more time, then it takes more time, but at least you'll have nice hair by the end of it. Now, the only other 2 things you need is a mixing bowl and a mixer. Now, this is the one I have. I just bought it at like 2-pack for $4 at Sally's. Along with this, I think it was like $2. You don't need to use this, but it makes it a lot easier. You could also use gloves if you want to, would probably help, but I don't have any. All right, now let's get into mixing the color. So on the box it says 1 part color, 2 parts developer. I'm just gonna basically use the rest of what I have. So you wanna try to get your full dose or full amount in at the beginning because you need it to all like be the same portions of everything ratio, and you also need it to be the same like wait time that goes in between putting it on your head. So for the most even application, try to get all of it done at once. Alright, so I was able to find more developer. I had some from when I went blonde. This is a 20, so I'm just going to substitute the rest with it, but I'm not using too much. Now it's supposed to be 2 parts developer to 1 part color, and then we are going to mix it together. Alright, that should be good. Alright, so a lot of people think that you want to start with your roots because it doesn't have any color, so it's going to take longer, but that is not true. Your roots are virgin hair, whereas your dyed hair is already colored. So that means it's actually has like a resistance kind of, so it's going to take longer to process. So you want to start on your ends and work up. The other thing is like some people may like this color here and leave it as is and only do their roots. If you want to do that, totally go for it. Make sure that you're blending it. I like to do all over color because, as I said, my brown fades. It's not too bad right now, but it just starts to pull more red. I like it more chocolatey, but you do whatever you want. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is make a line down my head and cut it into 4s and then pin this top part up. I'm not really worried about my sections being even because it's all gonna be one color, but cool. And I'm just gonna start painting this on. You want to massage it into your hair to make sure everything is really coated. Now I'm going to do the roots down here. The reason you want to section your hair is to make sure you get all of your roots. So you can use the back of this. Well, actually first, let's just do this. I really should be wearing gloves. Nice. I'm going to go in with this pointy top part and just section it off and get the roots. Nice. Make sure to get that lower part, but also this upper part here. Now if you want to dilute the color, if you don't want it as dark, you can use developer and conditioner. It'll also be good for your hair. I really got dye all over my skin. But luckily, we're in quarantine and I don't care. Use a t-shirt, guys. I even got it on my legs. The ends are usually a little dry, so make sure to really massage the color into them. Cool, we have dye all over. Nice. This is why you use a mirror and wear a shirt. So you really should do this beforehand, but if you're like me and you waited, well, you can do this. So I'm just gonna take my conditioner and squeeze a little on my hand, and you're gonna basically put it along your hairline, and that will help it from staining, which obviously I already have dye all over my face, so it's probably not gonna do very much. But I'm about to do like the root around my face, so hopefully it helps a little. But if you do this at the beginning, it should really help. You can also go around your ears. Yeah, great. So this is very important. A lot of people are afraid, well, you're like seeing me at my best, guys. A lot of people are afraid to get too close because they don't want dye on their head. Well, me personally, I do not want any roots at all. So here, I like to make sure all of that hair around my face has color on it. Now, I like to just go in and make sure the back of my head is done too. Now I'm gonna take a little bit more conditioner, just a little bit, and go around my eyebrows. Now you don't have to do this, but if you're blonde like I am, and your hair is, you're dyeing it darker, you want to make sure your brows match your hair. And then I just take the same dye that's already in my bowl and I paint it on my eyebrows. Don't get in the eye. That's bad. Could probably blind you. I should really use a mirror, okay. This will also make your eyebrows look thicker. So at this point I have like none left. I just like to get any last bits and put that on my head. Now I'm just gonna massage everything. Make sure every part is wet. Again, use gloves, please. My hands are gonna be disgusting after this. Really make sure there's not a single strand that's dry. Now clip it to the top of your head and wait 30 minutes or however long the box says. Don't look for the color to be right because it's gonna look funny no matter what. Just look to see how it goes from white to darker. My hands, they look like it killed someone. Great. You saw it here first, I didn't. I just dyed my hair brown without gloves. All right, save your gloves for quarantine, you know. Be careful out there. All right, I'll see you guys in 30 minutes. How do I turn the camera off? I also have to pee. Ugh. Alright, it's been 20 minutes, but I did do the 20 developer, so I think it sped it up. Plus it took me about 10 minutes to do it, so it's been 30 minutes overall. And I'm just looking at the color. I think that it looks pretty good. I took my eyebrows off because it was burning a little, and your eyebrows don't need that long, so they were on for like 10 minutes. So I think it's looking good. I think it's where it looks really dark right now, so when I wash it should get a little lighter. So now we're gonna go do that. Ow. Alright, now obviously most people know how to wash their hair, but before you put any shampoo or anything on, make sure that you really scrub that and get all of the dye out. Then use just like 2/4 worth of shampoo. I like to use a little bit extra when I dye my hair because I want to make sure everything is gone. And then make sure that you're scrubbing like the bottom and the sides because you don't want any residue. It's just going to make your head really itchy and not going to be good. So then make sure to rinse all of that out. You know that you're good when your water is running clear and doesn't have any more of the dye in the water. Then make sure that you're using a conditioner. This is a great time to use a conditioning treatment, but if you don't have one, it's fine. Just use your normal conditioner. I like to brush it through with a wet brush because it just gets it through and detangled better. And then I make sure to leave it on for at least 5 minutes. If you're doing a treatment, then you can leave it on up to 30 minutes, but basically I just throw that on at the beginning of my shower. Then I exfoliate my entire body, and by the time I'm done, I'm ready to rinse the conditioner. It's very important that you dry your hair the correct way because after you've dyed your hair and had those chemicals on it, your follicles are not very strong, and when they're wet, they're even more fragile. So you want to be drying your hair very gently by just wrapping the towel around and scrunching it and just getting all the excess water off, and then you want to let it air dry because you don't want to be putting heat on your fragile follicles. When it comes to shampoo and conditioner, you don't want to just be using anything generic from CVS. You really want to be using good quality shampoo and conditioner that are not stripping your hair. So this is the Brunette Solutions from Ions, and I picked this up at Sally's too. It's pretty reasonably priced, but it is a toning color shampoo and conditioner, meaning that the actual shampoo and conditioner, the color of it is brown because this is for brunettes, but it's similar to a purple shampoo for blondes. That's going to deposit color back into your hair. Instead of just stripping out color every wash, this is going to be adding it back in. That will keep your color looking rich and not lifeless. And also this has pretty good ingredients and is paraben free, which is a bonus. I also decided to cut it, so if you wanted to see how I did that, then that will be next week's video and you can check that out. It looks so good. It's so bright. You can obviously see all my roots are gone. It's just a nice little transformation. Quarantine is a perfect time to change it up, and you know, we're all bored anyways, you might as well have some fun hair. It's also really good, both dyeing your hair and cutting your hair is a great thing to do at home when even like normal life, because hairdresser costs a lot of money, and I think I look like I just went to the salon, and I'm really happy with the results, and I'm so happy that I didn't have to pay hundreds of dollars. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope that this video helped you to know what to look for when you're shopping and how to apply it to your head. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Anyways, if you guys try this, leave in the comments how it turned out and if you liked it. And as always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe down below to see more of me and to see next week how I chopped off my hair at home while stuck in quarantine. And as always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye guys.